Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank Podcast. I'm here with Mr. Jacob Santos.
Hey, what's going on, Rob? Thanks for having me, brother.
Jacob, tell me a little bit about yourself and if you want what you do professionally, but I guess people watching the video can probably already tell.
Yeah, well, so just a little bit about myself. I'm a 23-year-old executive chef. I'm from New York City. I did currently run two restaurants, Mom's Astoria and Halsey's Tavern out in Queens, New York City, Astoria. So right now I'm actually starting a detox powdered juice company from home. I transferred my guest bedroom into a test kitchen. So I have a mess table, I have dehydrators, I have everything you can think of, so we can assemble anything here and actually work from home. So I'm actually dropping this in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Been in culinary scene my whole life. Love it. I love making food.
What do
And
you
honestly,
typically like to make? Because, for a lot of kids, at least I feel like our age, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we were kind of raised on, like, either you were taught cooking at a young age, like from your grandparents or something, or you learned how to use the microwave to make Hot Pockets just because of the way the world kind of shifted from our generation to our parents' generation. It was all about, like, now it's all about working 3 different jobs and all these types of things
right.
to be able to support your family. So your mom's coming home tossing burgers on the table from McDonald's, like, fucking eat that, you savages.
Exactly. Like, honestly, like growing up, everything I cook now, I did not grow up eating. So like I'm like a typical Puerto Rican kid. Like my grandparents made rice beans every single day and it was either chicken or pork. That's it, or a plantain, but literally the same thing every day. I was never exposed to any beetroot, any veggies, anything healthy, anything good for the immune system. And I think that's what honestly gave me this love for this. I started working in kitchens when I was like 13 years old, grinding on my own. And I found a passion right there. And once I got exposed to different foods and different ways to take care of my body, and I can eat different, think different, sleep different, it was like a whole new world.
Well, going to your grandparents' house in general is completely different. If you're raised by your grandparents, it kind of is a little bit, I would say, it kind of sucks just because of the fact is it loses that essence of it being your grandparents' house. Like, I know for me, at least, I don't know what it's like for everybody else out there, but like going to my grandparents' house was something like special, like a freaking
Right.
occasion you did on the weekends. Like, you would go up and be like, she'd be like, what do you want for breakfast? You're like, what? You want double chocolate chip pancakes? I'm like, am I dead? Is this what's happening? She's like, you want chocolate milk with that? I'm like, what? Like chocolate milk for breakfast? I'm so used to just coming down the steps, opening up the pantry, looking for, something to eat. I see dinosaur oatmeal. I'm like, I'll take a
Right.
pass on that son of a bitch.
On some weedy things, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. Like grandma's house, for me was definitely the go-to, like you said, like for me, like the way it was for you was for me. We'll go like every Saturday or every Sunday, and I mean, my grandma would make fucking a feast, dog, like a crazy IHOP breakfast, pancakes, eggs, sausage, bacon, just the whole nine. Then she'll do like a lunch with like a side salad and a soup.
Yeah.
And then dinner time, you're getting a whole feast and you're getting like fresh baked cookies or cupcakes with like lollipops. I'm just like, wow.
Well, hold on a
Grandma.
second. You got lollipops for dinner?
Yeah, so here's a fun fact. My grandmother used to actually make candy. So like a lot of my candy skills come from her.
Okay, what type of candy are we talking about here? Is she a chocolatier or is she
Everything, hard candy,
okay?
chocolatier, everything.
Because
Like
my grandmom
lollipops.
had the little vases with like the she used to put hard candies in them and like
Yeah, my grandmother, same thing. Same thing.
yeah, I just went over there like I think I mean they've been there for 10 years just sitting on a shelf, and I just went over there the other day and they're like hard as shit to where you try and stick your hand in there and you're just breaking all your fingers. Like I can't get the I can't
You
get the
just
lemon
chip
heads
your
out.
nail.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like it was always different too because like I mean I would have meals at home with my family, but it was like different. Like I don't know, it was just something like it's a different experience. If you go to your grandparents' house, it's like it's an exploration. I mean, I
Yeah.
had grandparents that grew up in Baltimore. I had grandparents that went out in Delaware that I saw all the time. And I remember going over there, and she was like, "Clean Plate Club." I'm like, what is a what's a clean plate club? She's literally legit holding up the plate, licking the whole thing clean. She's like, that's how we do it. And it was back in the day when now this would be considered like child abuse or something, but you sat there and you ate all your food on your plate. That's what happened. I remember my grandpa at 3:00 in the morning coming out, getting ready to go to work at the hospital. He brews up some coffee. First time I've ever seen a man wear tighty whities before. He walks out into the family room, flicks the light switch on, and goes, "Holy shit!" I'm like, what? He goes, "You're still here?" I'm like, "Yeah, you told me I couldn't get up unless I ate all my food." He's like, "Go to bed, man. Eat that for breakfast or something." Holy crap! I was kidding.
Yo, that's hilarious.
But I mean, we got those, all have these memorable moments with our family, especially. Like, what's one in particular that you, I mean, out of probably the countless that you have?
Um, out of the countless that I have, honestly, one like reoccurring memory, whereas like I was like probably 6 years old, 7 years old, and we were in my grandma's house very early, like probably like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. And that morning specifically, my entire family was in my grandma's house. I can't remember for what reason, but I just remember it was like a big feast. Like there was eggs, there was pancakes, there was like bowls of fruits, like there was just everything,
You're thinking
everything.
somebody died. I know. You're
Right?
like,
It was, like it was maybe something like that. Like, I don't even know what it was, honestly, but honestly, it was the best memory I had because it's the happiest I've ever felt. I was around my whole family, I was around my grandparents. We were doing special events that day. I don't know, like, and I've since then I don't think I've ever seen my whole entire family in a room like that.
I think it's like, for me, it was they're my brother's grandparents. So we're half siblings. So it was me, my brother, my grandpa, my grandma. And I would just wake up in the morning, like 14, 15 years old, and I would be smelling, you would smell the bacon, you would smell the eggs, you would smell the pancakes, the double chocolate chip, dude. Like, she sprinkled those chocolate chips in
Right.
there. You knew when you ate that meal, it was made with love. And but like, we worked at a water park during the summer, so like that was like one of my first jobs. So like, before work, she would be like, here's some she would do the shredded hash browns, but she would use it in
Ooh,
a healthier fry oil, like a more of like a vegetable oil, instead of
yeah.
using like grease. And it was supposed to be healthier, and she would stack up, we would be going back for seconds, thirds, all these types of things. And it was different, like when my grandma cooked compared to when my grandpa
Mom,
cooked. My
right? Oh
grandpa
yeah.
was like, he had an instruction manual to make us bagels, literally to make us bagels. Like, Michael's my brother. He goes, it says on the note, Michael likes cream cheese. Robbie does not. Give Robbie butter on his bagel. And he puts cream cheese on it. So I'm sitting there eating a bagel, and I'm like, this doesn't taste right. And I'm eating all the edges around the bagel. And he's just looking at me. He's like, when I grew up, my dad would beat me with and just starts going off. I'm like, this doesn't, it tastes funny. He goes, it's butter. You're always complaining. I swear, you always leave the broccoli. And I'm like, what? And then my grandma comes home. She's like, he hates cream cheese. He's not eating it. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Would you like a Kit Kat bar? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Would you like a Kit Kat in place for your bagel?
Oh, dude, he's a candy fanatic, man. I learned everything basically from him, how to sneak in candy into the movie theaters. Let me tell you
Oh,
something.
word. Yeah, I think that was all grandpa's old hacks and tricks. Like my grandpa, man, yo, this dude would carry literal probably 5 pound bags of Jolly Ranchers in his cardigan. So serious. Like he would just walk around with just Jolly Ranchers in his cardigan, and or like sometimes would instead of like he'll park his car and he'll wait outside for 15 minutes and he'll just be in there just fucking stashing down Jolly Ranchers by the mouth, and my grandma's just ringing his line like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And has a mouthful of Jolly Ranchers. I'm just like, "Oh my god, what?"
My bedroom up there was near the driveway, so I would see everybody pull in. So like, we would have these giant family gatherings that come over. My grandma would cook all day or something, and we would see everybody roll up. So I'd be like, up, they're here, up, they're here, they're here. Like, just screaming out loud. And I remember my grandpa, he would always come home from like work around like 3 p.m. or something, and they ate at like 5 p.m. So we all got used to that. They eat pretty early. And he
Yeah.
comes in and he just sits in the driveway for like 35 minutes. And I'm starting to think something's wrong. I'm like, is he okay? Is he going through something? I go out there. He's just, I mean, straight up into his little, like the side compartment between the two seats in the glove box, just pulling out freaking Reese Pieces, Kit Kat bars, bags of like chocolate chips and all these types of things. I'm like,
Savage.
what are you doing, man? He's like, your grandmom doesn't let me eat candy. He's like, why do you think I have a freezer in the shed out back? It's filled with Halloween candy. I'm like, that's why you're taking so long to fix the damn lawnmower.
Yo, man, old folks are so funny, man.
They got the tricks of the trade. I mean, honestly, like some people, they live with their grandparents, they grow up by their grandparents, and they have obviously distinct values that are placed inside of them. A more of a getting up early type, going to bed early, making sure all the work is completed. They have a different wholeness to them. And I mean, it does happen to do with the way society does come today. But like, out of all the things that you've really learned, like, what do you pull the most from your grandparents?
Honestly, I want to say everything I've learned from them has been strategic, you know? So what I've learned the most from them is honestly, everything I have is everything I stand for, you know? So just don't be scared to take risk. You know, if you have a craft, perfect your craft and show the world your craft. Don't settle for less. Don't tell anyone you're less, you know, and just keep doing it. Literally, like my grandmother would tell me, like, you love something, you want to do something, you get up and you do it. Even if you're a loser, even if you suck at it, even if you know it's going to take you 100 years to perfect it, don't quit. Because if you're a quitter, then you're a whole other person.
What's
You know?
your favorite part about cooking? I would say, like, what made you want to get into it besides your grandparents? Like, when did you like? What do you typically prefer to make? What do you find the most fascinating? My part was
Um,
licking the egg beater was like my favorite. Like when she would
honest.
hand me that thing and go lick this, and I'm like, all of it? She's like, yeah. And but then she would take the bowl that she dumped all the stuff out, and she would take a spoon and start going through the sides of it. I'm like, I feel like I got cheated here. She's like, I did all the work. I'm like, still, I'm cheated.
Honestly, I think what made me really get into it was like, well, I was like 14 years old, you know, and I was having a rough time in school. I was just like being this like dodo bird kid, just like flying off the handles, whatever the case is. My aunt was actually married to a chef, and told me he was like, listen, um, after school, I want you to come to my restaurant. I'll give you a job. You start washing dishes, you know, you'll just start like you'll learn some value. You'll start like just learn to be more responsible, like respectful, whatever the fuck it is, whatever. It's like, all right, I'll give it a shot, whatever. So I ended up going. I remember I fucking hated it, dude. Like I fucking hated the kitchen. I hated him. I hated the kitchen. I just wasn't for me. It was just I hated it. But it built character inside of me. Literally, like before then, I didn't know how to clean a house. I didn't know what responsibilities were. I didn't know what time management was. I didn't know what patience was. I didn't know how to communicate with others, you know? And this, like, that's what made me get into it. Like, as soon as I realized I learned patience within myself, I learned how to conduct myself, I learned time management within myself, and then I learned how to communicate with others. I was like, oh man, I can take this knowledge and I can literally mold 100 figures, positive figures, you know? It's part of being a change. And that, I think, just led me in it
What do
deep,
you
you know?
what do you feel like is the most like one of the things you probably miss? Like for me, I mean, I took a lunch to school for a while, but eventually it was kind of getting a little bit difficult just because of the factor is like, I mean, both my parents worked all the time. So it was like
Right,
difficult just to be able to get that time in to be able to do that. So eventually it was just easier just to buy lunch. Like here's a couple bucks, go there, or do whatever. But I remember when my grandparents, like, during the summer, they would make my lunch and I could always tell who made my lunch. Um, my grandpa would just stick like a jar of fucking peanut butter in there and then stick like one piece of bread. So like, I mean, I almost choked and died one time. Like I was, where he was like, I was like, what's for lunch? And we're just sitting at the house. We didn't have to go to work or anything. We just got outside working in the yard all day. He's like, I don't know, make yourself something. I'm like, I don't know how to use the oven, so I can't make my dinosaur nuggets. There's nothing. My mom didn't make anything else than leave in the fridge for me to pull out for dinner. So what about pizza? And he's a Little Caesars type of guy, and I'm like, dude, I'll die by
oh.
peanut butter before I eat Little Caesars, man. And and he gets this jar of peanut butter and just puts it out on the table. Now it's crunchy. I wasn't a big fan of crunchy back then. I was
Yeah,
very
not me
picky.
either.
So I was like, where's the creamy? He's like, you're gonna eat what you're gonna eat, or you're gonna starve. And I'm like, okay, I get it, I get what we're rolling here. It's fight for your life scenarios. So he gives me a slice of bread. I'm like, where's the other piece? He goes, you want two slices? I'm like, what are we living in? Communist Russia? Like, holy crap, man. Like 2 slices is a lot. He's a great guy. But I
Can I
remember
ask? Can I
taking,
ask?
okay.
What are like what's your like your background before we get into anything, like your ethnicity? Like, are you like full blown American?
I'm American with a lot of other things thrown in. I took that ancestry.com thing and it told me I was 3% Nigerian. I was like, I mean, I guess. I mean,
Yo, that's hilarious. 3% Nigerian.
they literally nailed
Yeah.
it down to a percentage like that. Like maybe not a 30%, not a 0.003, just a straight up 3%. I'm like, what's the rest? Like, you're also like from some Jewish heritage or something back there. I'm like, I can see that. I can see that.
Oh
I
man,
got a kind of
that's
a
so
large nose.
hilarious, man.
But look, my grandpa, he goes, I know what you're thinking why you asked that was if they came from like Russia or they came from some type of Hungarian background, that's a
Yeah.
type that's a similar meal. Kids will
Yeah,
eat
like
like butter and salami in their lunch. And so he gives me this slice of bread and this jar of peanut butter. So I take the slice of bread and I have it set down and I'm trying to take like a spoon and get globs out of it and put it on the bread. I don't know why I didn't use a knife. And if I did, it was a steak knife like an idiot. But I just took the bread slice, stuck it right in the jar of peanut butter, and just wrapped it all the way around the sides and kept spinning my hand like it was like an oven mitt just going around it, or like, you know what I mean? Like you're cleaning out the sink or something.
yeah.
And I pull this piece out. And I mean, it's just literally, there's maybe a sandwich slice of bread inside of this giant glob of peanut butter. I just started eating it out of my hand. And he's just like, I'm sitting on the couch, just eating this, watching freaking John Wayne movies with my grandfather. He's just looking over at me. He goes, you know how ridiculous you look right now? I was like, you didn't feed me, man. Didn't feed me.
That's hilarious. What was he against, like packaging ham and cheese sandwiches? Was that
No,
not his thing? Like,
look, he would do it when he wanted to. But like
all right,
he's amazing. I mean, drove me to work and everything, but it was so much easier to be like, why don't we just stop and get something? Just the lazy factor,
yeah,
which
of
I can see
course.
I can get that from him. But like my grandma, I'm like, I remember like, you know, on days I'd work, I'd open up my lunch or something. I mean, I'm 14 years old. I'm expecting like, let's see if there's like something special in here. Like maybe she made
Right.
me a taco or something. She would have burritos that she handmade in the morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning with like
That's
sliced up
sick.
fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. She would chop up, always fresh fruit, always give me like a little bag of grapes or pineapple inside the
The,
burrito. I was like, what
the,
is this? What
that
God do you
that's
worship?
that's why grandmas are grandmas. Like that extent that she just went. Honestly, that whole meal you just described, I imagined it on my table. Like that's awesome.
And my
On,
grandpa would just throw a Kit Kat bar in there and freaking a Yoo-Hoo and be like, there you
and a
go.
sneaker,
I'm like,
like go play some
bro,
basketball.
I'm in 90-degree heat at a water park all day. You gave me a Kit Kat bar and a Yoo-Hoo. He goes, what's the issue? I'm like, what's the issue? I
What's
got to
the
worry about,
issue?
and this is the time you're learning in school, like about proteins, carbohydrates, and the whole plate thing. I'm like, well, I need my carbohydrates. I need my proteins. He goes, that's all propaganda. I'm like, propaganda? It's nutrition.
That's propaganda. That's hilarious. He's not wrong. He's not
Not
wrong.
wrong.
That's hilarious though.
But you're talking about meals on your table, for instance. Like, what was one that you were excited for when it hit like when someone mentioned it? Like tonight's taco night. Tonight's do
Oh,
this.
my mom used to make shrimp fettuccine
Shrimp
and
fettuccine.
shrimp fettuccine.
Were they Italian?
They were not Italian. That's what's hilarious. My family just loves Italian food, and I grew up in an Italian neighborhood.
Okay.
So yeah, so like whenever she would make shrimp fettuccine, I would just like lose my marbles. Like that's what they made me for my birthday. If I did good in school, any special day, I was getting a shrimp fettuccine. Um, but the problem is like my mom wasn't the best cook growing up, you know, and like that was like the only meal she kind of perfected. So if I wasn't eating shrimp fettuccine, I was eating like white rice or like eggs or like
Dude,
something
I know the
crazy. Like
struggle. At one point in my life, when I was 15 or 16 years old, I lived in a house that we bought, and it was just crap. The kitchen was disgusting. I mean, the stove was like, I mean, just so dirty and like you couldn't clean it. You had to get everything new. It had to be installed.
right,
Gas was messed up in it. My mom refused to cook on it. So for basically like 6 months, we had to eat nothing but like ramen and shit, like to the point like where my dad would just come home. He goes, what's for dinner? Let me guess, ramen. She goes, no, Taco Bell. And he just like, fuck, what is this? What are these kids get? And for us, it was excitement. Like, oh my God, we're getting Taco Bell for dinner. I'm
Yeah.
about to murder a 12-pack of tacos and shit my brains out.
Yo, but you know what's crazy though? How your mind just reverses, because I remember being a kid and honestly having that same feeling. I'm gonna fucking body these chimichangas. I'm gonna body these 12-pack of tacos. Fuck you, and I'll shit my brains out. I don't care. Now it's like Taco Bell. Damn, don't want to do it to me. Like I dead ass have to think about it and hesitate, and it might take me a good 2 days to come on a decision if I should eat Taco Bell now today or not.
That's gotta be like terrible just to be like a chef, because you're around so much food that you know would just
Right.
like hit you really, really hard. Like, I mean, what do you typically like make? What is your specialty dishes that you prefer to make
Um,
to ones that you actually make?
Nice. So, like I'm specialized in Middle Eastern food. I love cooking healthy and good. So like I'll do anything between, like I'm a big fish guy. So I'll do like either a whole fish or like a rack of lamb, or I'll with like either a cauliflower couscous or some quinoa and like a fresh salsa verde. So maybe some like blanch snap peas, like a carrot puree with like a fresh haddock, like pickled cucumbers.
You're
Like
making
just
my breakfast look like shit right now.
I like to, and all this is very simple. I love making very simple things, but things that are good for you. They taste good. And at the end of the meal, like you ever ate, I've literally had a Big Mac one time, a 10-piece, a soda, large fries. Bodied it. I'm like, I could still kind of fucking eat right now, yo. And at the end of the day, I feel like shit. I'm shitting crazy. I got a migraine. I feel gross.
Well, that's where
I'll
you're
eat a
growing up. You're eating like crap, dude. I mean, I look back on like my high school years. I was killing a bag of Doritos in one sitting while freaking drinking a 2 liter of Mountain Dew. Like, I remember,
yeah,
like, I would game
yo.
out so hard where my
Oh my
dad would come up after like 2 days with like a sliced sandwich cut diagonal because he's not like a psychopath. And
yo.
he would
I
just
love you said that.
he would drop it right in front of me, you're dropping a plate in front of like a wolf, and he would just start backing away. He goes, "You need to eat, man. Like, you need to keep your body fueled." I'm like, "Dude, I just ate like 3 hours ago." He goes, "Robbie, that was Monday. It's Thursday." I'm like,
Yo,
"What?
that's
It's
high school life.
Thursday? Like, you just could just come downstairs. Everyone's in the kitchen, like having dinner. You would just go to the pantry, grab like 3 bags of Doritos,
Right? You got
grab
the
like
blanket over your head,
you
like
got zebra cakes and shit, and you're just walking up the thing, like everything's falling out of your hands while you're walking down the steps, and they're just like, "What just happened?" And
yeah.
you murder that. I mean, you kill all that food in a minute.
Right, right. Leave the kitchen a fucking mess.
And I look
Like,
at it now, like if I ate a bag of Doritos and tried to like walk up my steps, I would get like indigestion, acid reflux. I'd
yo,
have like a heart attack as I was going up the stairs. And
why? But
my
why does this happen?
and I'm like 22, but still, it's like your body, like once you start eating clean or you start doing something, like
It
you,
shifts.
that I don't know what it was. Like I thought that was going to be life forever back in the day, was eating
Yo,
whatever I
me too.
wanted. And then when
I,
you get older, it's like, nope.
right. I was like, I'm gonna wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm gonna eat 1,000 Chico sticks. Now it's like, hell no, I eat a Chico stick today, dude. My fucking whole teeth might fall out. Like, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like you say that. Like, I literally remember waking up, like you said, breakfast is gonna be a Red Bull. What the fuck? Bacon, egg, and cheese with like hot sauce, bag of chips, Skittles, Starburst, and like M&Ms. That's my breakfast. Like
Dude,
what?
I relate to you so much right now. During the summer of like my senior year and the year after, I was an energy drink fiend. I only drink them because of the taste.
Yo, me too.
Yeah, I have really bad ADHD, so they just don't work on me. So I remember walking from my house on 12th Street, like a good 10 miles into work, and my brother's girlfriend was there. And she would see me, like I would have like a Red Bull, a giant 20-ounce one in my hand, and she'd be like, "Robbie, those things are going to kill you." I was like, "I've had 6 of them already." She goes, "What?" I was like, "I've murdered 6 of these for breakfast. It's not even 10 a.m. yet. And I've had a bag of Skittles for breakfast." She goes, "You're going to have a heart attack by like 24. I was like, "I'm just trying to make it to 26."
Yo, that's hilarious.
And she
That
put
is definitely.
a stop on that one fast. I was like, "I'm still going to drink them." She's like, "Just do one a day. You don't need anything more than it." I'm like, "But I want energy 24/7."
Yo, honestly, it got to a point like that for me too. Like even at work. So, man, like chefs, we work about minimal 12-hour shifts. Max 15. Sometimes we pull 18-hour shifts. And I remember I was pulling like 15-hour shifts, 6 days a week, and I was just fucking dead. Like I had no energy, man, like none. And I was drinking literally like 5 Red Bulls a day and like 10 coffees with like 3 double espresso shots in them. You know, like that's what I was running off of my fuel. So one day I literally woke up. I remember I woke up, I called my boss, I was like, I need 2 days off. I just need 2 days off. And those 2 days I took myself and I just started drinking water, stopped drinking juice, stopped drinking soda. I just revamped and got myself together in 2 days and started eating different, drinking different. And literally I seen my health change in weeks. It was crazy. It was crazy. And I was just like, oh my God, I was killing myself.
Well, like, I mean, I could still do like a bunch of energy drinks at once, but I'm like, I learned just like to either not have them or just do like one a day where it's like,
Yeah.
it's weird. I've shifted to coffee, especially like I could tear up a pot of coffee now. It's like I'm
Yeah.
drinking an adult drink now.
So,
And
dude, I can't live without coffee, man.
yeah, it's essential. But like I remember, like it's funny you say that you talk about like working as a chef. I basically worked the complete opposite of what you did. You were out in like you were in a heat environment all the time, being around like a lot of these things, not really having open space to be able to work, which I know is one of the most difficult things about being like a chef at a restaurant is the fact that you're just surrounded by so many people and it gets hot as
Right.
fuck in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
And when you get busy, it's busy. Like there's
Yeah.
everybody trying to run around each other, trying to make something. You're trying to make a freaking pasta vazulu or whatever. Some other dude's trying to make a freaking souffle off to the side.
And
You're like,
he's
bro,
fucking burning. He's burning the middleman is burning the sauce. The end man charred the steak. The left man fucking overblends the
turn
noodles.
the fucking heat on. We're like, what?
What the
Turn the heat on.
fuck,
It's hot as balls in here. It's like, no, you're
dude?
not working, bro. You're washing dishes. I mean, that's
The
still hard ass work, but you get hot when you're washing dishes. You just spray your
man,
face with the
the,
thing and keep
the
on
the
going.
kitchen is no joke. And I literally think if you haven't worked in the kitchen or have family members who worked in the kitchen, people don't value it and don't understand. You know, I'm the type of dude that if I walk to a spot and it's 10 at night and they close at 10 at, if it's 10 at night and they close at 10:30 or 11 o'clock, don't worry guys, I'll go somewhere else. You know why? I know you guys had a long day. You're still getting your ass whipped by all these delivery systems and you guys still have to close down and clean. By the time these guys get out of here, it's 3 a.m. to come back at 8 and do it again. And it's like, the kitchen life is like, if you don't love it, you hate it. Cause
I
it sucks.
I usually like if I'll wait like 45, I've waited 45 to an hour for my meal at like an Outback or an Applebee's or something, but I don't really give a shit as long as they're giving me like bread. Like you could just keep
Yeah,
bringing the
just
Outback
feed
bread.
me.
Yeah, just like get me a drink. Get me a coloring book. I don't care. I'll
Yo, I love that.
draw my
Get
ass
me a
off.
coloring book.
And like working the opposite job, like during the summer of like my senior year and like the year after, I was doing jet skis. I did it for about 5 years, but there was
Oh,
one
that's
point,
dope.
probably like 2 years ago, I was doing a thing called the Jetivator. And what this is a bike that is hooked up to the back of a jet ski. And it's this long, about like a firefighter hose, basically, that was hooked to this machine. And it would use the thrusters of the jet ski to make the person fly out of the water like a hoverboard. We had the hoverboard as
Wow.
well. So that was my job. So there was only one person that would do that. I would be the guy. They called me the Jetivator guy. I'd be on the jet ski and I would be teaching these people individually you get about a 30-minute flight because after 30 minutes you're tired because it's very
Right.
exhausting to be able to do that. And I'll never forget, dude. I ate fucking Chipotle before going out on that jet ski.
No.
After the first hour, I had to crap so bad. And they left me out on the water. I was out on the water 12 hours that day. But
Oh my God.
no, like, hang on a second, it gets worse. We had to shuttle people in and out just to keep, we didn't feel like setting it back up and everything. So we're shuttling in and out people just back and forth. So I'm in, they're like, can I get a sub? Can I get like belly busters? Like get me like they said they're going to take care of me when I get back. I'm like, okay. So maybe it's another hour from now I'll be home. No. It was like 8 hours later. And I mean, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. we were out on the water when that sun hit down. And I remember we had to basically steer up business. So they got me on the hoverboard. Now, I work with my captain. I know my captain. My captain and me and him have this relationship where we like to fuck around and hurt each other, okay? So when he was on it, like he would sit on the hoverboard and I would hit the throttle and he would go up, but then I would slowly release it and let him down. So he was like scaring the shit out of him. So he was going like,
Yeah.
like back, like he's riding a
Yeah.
horse or something. And I remember I was on this hoverboard and we're passing by this local bar called Secrets. And there's all these girls out there in the water, bikinis. I mean, hot as shit, getting drunk, literally like screaming, come do shots with us. I'm like, hey. And so I'm on this hoverboard and I want to show off. So I go and I'm like going up and I go up really high. And the thing is, when you lift your left leg up, the hoverboard goes up in the air. So what happened was I lifted my left leg up. And the problem is if you go too high with it, the propulsion that's pushing up the hoverboard will make it so you can't push it back down. It's too much. So you basically go flying backwards. And I flew up. I was literally like holding on to the front of the board. It was into my chest. And then straight up, I accidentally, I guess, turned too much to one side. The thing straight up hit me in the stomach and propelled me right into the ground, dude. Now, our bay is not deep. Our bay is waist deep. So I hit and I felt my tailbone crack against the sand. I was like, oh, I got up, dude. He's like, are you all right? I'm like, I shit my pants.
Oh my
He goes, what? I'm like,
God.
I shit my pants. He goes, are you serious? I'm like, either that or it's blood. And he goes, dude, you really need to check. Luckily, nothing happened. But I swear to God, dude, I was pulling out sand out of my shorts for the longest
Oh my
time. I mean,
God.
it bodied me. And like, he's like, are you all right?
Bro.
I'm like, I'm fine. I get on my jet ski, I drive off, and I get back to the dock. I was embarrassed. I mean, you can't just sit there and be like, I'm hurt, you know, in front of all these girls and stuff. So I'm like, I'm fine. Get back to the dock. I'm like, I shit my pants. Like, it happened. Like,
Yo,
I knew it.
that's
I knew it.
insane.
It was going to happen one of these days, Rob. You're always complaining about tummy issues. I'm like, I know, right?
Yo, that is insane, bro.
It's safe to say I will never eat Chipotle ever again. I get anxiety just smelling it now.
Yo, that's hilarious. Yeah, bro, Chipotle gives me the runs on a regular day. I can't even imagine doing that. Oh
And
my
they're owned by
God.
McDonald's too.
Yes, I know. I know.
That's insane. What do you
That's
feel about
insane.
is probably the biggest, I guess, problem in the industry when it comes to like the kitchen? Like, do you think it has to do with a lot of the tension?
Um, Honestly, yeah. I feel like, you know what it is? It's not even tension in the kitchen. It's just what happens in the kitchen is this: there's so many people, so that means there's so many personalities, you know, and not everyone works well under pressure. Not everyone can handle pressure. You know, for example, I used to work at this place, you know, fine dining spot, and we used to get pretty jam packed for lunch, like do like about 200, 250 covers, 300 covers, and we'll get pretty busy. For a person who's not a cook or a chef, you would say it's busy, but for line cooks or chefs, you would say, yeah, we had a good lunch, you know, if these guys know what they're doing. And I remember we had a new general manager, and this dude it was coming from a complete career change. He was like a contractor or some shit like that. He's just getting into food industry, some shit like that. I don't know. So he's
Had,
never fucking
yeah, had a high entitlement of what he knew, what he wanted to do. Like, oh, you
right.
should be doing it like this. You got to turn the
Exactly. Or like
fryer on before you start.
he wasn't even like he's never seen 80 tickets print at once and then fall on the floor and then 80 more print on top of it in a matter of 30 seconds. He's never seen that. You know, in my kitchen, there's literally rows and rows of tickets on the floor and then tickets on our board and then there's tickets everywhere. We're just in the fucking shitter. You're just cooking to fucking cook. You know, you just put your head down and you get through it. And I remember where like the fucking board is full, you know, from here to here, all across. Fucking tickets are ringing out. The first row is racked over, second row is racked over, and it's just fucking. I mean, it's summertime. It's the middle of brunch. It's poached egg. It's fucking avocado toast. It's game time. Like, it's crazy. And I'm on expo. I'm expoing. I'm fucking sweating because it's 90 degrees. One of my vents are broken. It's crazy, you know. And literally, the general manager is standing behind me. He's like biting his nails, and he's like, is this one taking too long? Is that one taking too long? When will this come out? And he's grabbing tickets from the floor. He said, but what about these? What's going to happen with these?
That's when you
And
take cayenne pepper and just chuck it in his
yeah,
face.
and I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Calm the fuck down. This is my fucking kitchen. Just calm the fuck down. Everybody calm down. Like, you know, like there just has to be that one, like, that's why the chef gets to be a dick. Because he gets to be that one person that's like, you know what? I'm not nervous. Don't feel any pressure. So you guys shouldn't feel it either. And if you do, there's a problem. You know, and literally, like, the way these guys respect chefs in the kitchen is like Jesus Christ. And it's like, if I tell you to lick the floor, you're gonna lick the floor. And it's like, especially in an emotion like that, when it's just complete, like I said, chaos. You know, like, and then mind you, when it's busy like that, we also have our regular line cooks, but we have trainees, we have new guys. So like I said, some guys probably burning the fucking pasta rizzoli. The guys probably fucking making a medium rare steak, a well done. It got sent out 3 times wrong. The customer's never coming back. They waited fucking an hour and 50 minutes for their meal. You know, so all that stuff comes into play. That's why you need level-headed people with experience in the kitchen. If not,
everybody's got to respect each other. I mean,
exactly.
I can relate to that. Like, you know, I'm not going to want to turn this all onto me or something, but when it comes to like doing jet skis, we had a respect for each other because our life was basically in the other person's hands. I mean, we're watching up to 15 people on the water on rental jet skis that can go anywhere they want. People could collide into each other. We had it happen all the time. I remember saving kids out of the water. I've jumped and stopped a jet ski from hitting a buddy of mine that was in the water. His head was in between 2 jet skis. And what was happening is this person was coming in fast. They were creating a wake. And what happens is when you create that wake, these 2 jet skis start rocking like this, and then they collide right into each other. So his head was in between there. So I remember jumping in and kicking out this one jet ski, just, you know, like a frog, like, you know, all, you know, both my hands, my legs, and just pushing off on this jet ski to push it away to stop it. But like, we went out in hurricanes. We had a sense of respect for each other. And I'll never forget, my buddy was off work and he came by. I was like, dude, he's getting Chick-fil-A. He's going to toss me Chick-fil-A. So there's we have this bridge called 50 Bridge, and it's a really small, it leads right into our town, but our work is right by that bridge. We literally called it under the bridge. So our dock was right there. And I remember I had to go under the bridge to be able to get to our riding area. So I had to guide all these people. My buddy's just on top of the bridge. I'm like, dude, I got to wait till I get back to my trip to eat. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, what? Just straight up chucks a spicy chicken sandwich, dude. I literally jump off my jet ski, one-handed, catch this sucker. It had a little bit of salt water on it, but dude, I fucking ate that. It was good. It was a moment where even like the people that were riding were like, bravo.
That's
Bravo.
hilarious.
I was like, look, I haven't eaten all day. Once we get to the riding area, I'm eating this. Everybody stay away from me.
Yeah, man. You know, honestly, like, it's just, you know, I feel like with every job, it just comes accountability. You know, someone has to be accountable for what they're doing. Every station. So if you have a position, even if you're the fucking milkman, you know, you have to be held accountable. You know, it's like my delivery guy, right before this whole pandemic happened, he sent me 7 cases of fucking spoiled buttermilk. And I'm just like, and I like lost my lid, you know, and I explained to my boss why I lost my lid and why I got so angry and why I got his fucking shit like that is because everyone has to be held accountable. You know, if I go out to the floor and I start sending out shitty food for the past 2 hours and the customers don't come back, whose fault is that? The chef's fault. The chef is accountable. So if my milk is spoiled and I'm creating desserts and my customers are getting sick or I'm putting out bullshit, whose fault is that? The milkman. You know, everyone held accountable. It's a domino effect. You know, if the top of the chain is not doing their job, the bottom of the chain will not survive. That's a fact.
Why did you want to be an executive chef? Why did you want to do something else? Because like I look at you and like your personality and stuff, and I mean, don't consider this an insult at all, but I was like, why don't you work at like a school? You know how much joy you could bring to the children
Yo,
with
so many people tell me.
like you could vibe so well there. Like I had one of my mom's friends works as a lunch lady basically, and he just gets high and makes school lunches all the time. He's like, it's awesome. He's like, I just give him a chocolate milk because you would have thought that you gave somebody $1 million their face lights up. And I'm like, dude, I remember I would eat breakfast at my house, then I would go to school and they would have free breakfast, sausage biscuits. You bet your ass I was eating a sausage biscuit.
Thanks. That's hilarious. Honestly, I think just because it before this, I didn't have any hobbies. I didn't really have I was designing clothes, you know, like I design clothes and like that's like my second gig, you know, but like I said, the kitchen has taught me how to be patient, it taught me how to control my anger, it taught me how to just become a better person all around, but at the same time, when I started putting on when I first made my first menu, like my own menu, put it out there, you know, and customers started buying it. Customers started requesting it. People were leaving Yelp reviews or coming to my restaurant sitting down saying this is the best damn meal I've ever had in my fucking life. And I'm not even 25, you know, I got my first executive chef job when I was 18 years old. So when I was hitting that feedback, hearing those comments and the things I was doing, like the way I was pushing it was making me push myself. I was like, whoa, I've never had this motivation before. It gave me some sort of sense of value. honestly. And one, it makes me work harder, and two, I genuinely love teaching people. Like if you were asking me what I love to do besides cooking, I think it's teaching people.
Can
I
you teach
love
me how to turn on my oven or be able to use my oven? Because like someone tosses out like, can you preheat the oven to 450? I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm gonna go and get us Dunkin' Donuts or something, and then we can go from there. I got
for sure,
taquitos in the freezer, and I know it's gonna be okay because the microwave takes 15 minutes to cook some taquitos.
dude. I've done took 14, 15-year-old kids who are still in high school, literally boys and girls, and made them into full-on line cooks. Like I'm talking about knife skills, like mincing, dicing, butchering, the whole fucking nine, working the sauce station, making sauces from scratch, like everything, the whole fucking nine. And I'm
I
just like,
get so cocky with that. I can't do it with a knife. Are you kidding me? Come on now. I cut a frozen pineapple with a giant chef knife, and I literally stuck it into the top of the pineapple and then went to go push it down as hard as I could. Freaking missed and sliced right into my hand. I was like, yep, gonna need to go to the hospital on this one for sure. But I mean, even if you're getting like Yelp reviews too, out of all the good ones, I mean, it's got to feel good. It's like the same thing I can understand like with podcasting. If you get like a good comment or good feedback, it makes you feel like you created something that people are enjoying. But what makes it difficult about like a Yelp review or any type of restaurant review is the fact is nobody's going to be, I guess, as nice as there's going to be more hateful comments, because obviously people, when they have an issue, it's going to be like, it wasn't cooked properly. I said medium rare and it's medium. And you're like, you son of a bitch. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. And like, they just crap on you. But like, I look at some of these reviews, man, and if I'm going to leave a bad review, it's not going to be a bad one. It's going to be like, I ate this food, got sick, had the shits all night, but I'm not going to lie, I still ate it. So obviously it was pretty fucking good. Like, that's going to be my review. So it's at least like the guy's like, well, yeah, I mean, come on. I didn't cook it right. He still ate it. He enjoyed
You know
it.
what it is though? Like you can honestly tell, when I it's my job every day to after a shift, go on our website or go on our Yelp, whatever, and look at the reviews, see how we did for the day, what people are saying about us, stay updated. And I can tell who hates their life, who hates their job, who are just fuckers for the fun of it, and who generally had a bad experience, had a bad meal, and we really fucked up. Like there's a pretty fine line between that. Like there's just some dudes that are just like fucking horrible. Like they'll leave crazy comments. Like when this one dude came in one time, all he ordered was a drink. He didn't even order any food. He ordered a drink. So he like shitted on the bartender. And he was like, not enough gin. Worst drink I ever had in my life. Maybe she needs to go back to school and learn how to make a drink. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I don't understand people that get that angry over that. Like, I've gotten pretty angry over some things, but I'm never going to be like, I'm going to type out a full on fucking article and post it. Like, with punctuation and everything, like there's no autocorrect in there. Like, this person went in there with like a writing degree and just started putting commas and parentheses and freaking has a little squiggly above the letter. And I'm like, this guy legit hated me.
Yo, bro, that's how I feel sometimes. Like, the fucking eggs were over medium, and I wanted them over easy. He's a fucking idiot. Like, what?
I read a review on my cousin who's a waiter, and he's got like he's got a few good ones, and one of them's like, he's just, seems like he's preoccupied, obviously has his head in the clouds, like those types of things. Then one that was like 8 pages long, where I was like, I have to sit down and get like my reading glasses just to be able to read all of this. And I'm like reading it, and towards like the middle of it, I'm like, I'm not going to lie, I don't think this is about you. I definitely think he's got a lot of shit going on, because I already know that he's single. He's divorced recently. He lost his kids in a custody battle. My cousin's like, you got all that from the letter? I'm like, yeah, man. He's being pretty fucking open about it.
Yeah. Like, some dudes, like, literally, like I said, just are having such a hard time within their personal life that they'll take it out on anything and any way they can. And literally, restaurants are the easiest and best targets because, one, not only can you bitch and get treated like a fucking king, you also can get compensated. You can also fucking get your whole fucking meal refunded. Whatever it is, you can definitely eat for free. Like, and there's been times that dudes have gotten away. And I'm just like, oh man.
I can do customer service. Like I'm pretty good at talking to people, but I'm just real with it. Like I tried being a waiter once. It didn't work out. I mean, I think I lasted maybe like it was the training shift. So I was like 10 minutes in and it was just the way I was approaching people. I was like, hey, what do you guys want to eat? And like, you can't say that. You have to say, welcome to the restaurant. We have all these specials. And I'm like, or I could just ask them what they want to eat because I guarantee you they probably know. Because I know
That's why I can't be a waiter.
so many times I'm sitting there like looking at the menu and the waitress comes over and goes, what would you like to eat today? Would you like the special? It's a pea soup salad with a side of cream. Or would you like a side of asparagus with a stick of butter on top of it? And I'm like, thank you for reading off a list of options I don't give two shits about. Well, today's special is the fish. And I'm like, what's in the fish? They're like, well, we have many varieties to choose from. You can get it you can get it smoked, you can get it grilled, you can get it fried, you can get it boiled. I'm like, son of a bitch, can I get a cheeseburger and french fries? I already know what I'm gonna order.
No, I definitely understand where that comes from. Like literally, like especially when it's like summertime. We like double up on our staff, and a lot of the times what we do is we'll hire a lot of like young front of the house, like a lot of young waiters, waitresses, bar backs, things like that, like kids that are like still in school or like in college, whatever the case is. And yeah. So what I do is before every dinner service, I will have a meeting, you know, with my staff, and I'll just run down specials. All right, guys, this is what the specials are for tonight. I need you to sell 12 ribeyes tonight. I need you to sell 6 haddocks tonight. This has to be done tonight. Or generally in a fine dining spot, if we have a meeting and we need certain things sold by waiters and waitresses and they don't, we'll cut your shift because that means you can't sell food. So it's like, it's hard to do that when you have younger kids, especially if you have a kid coming, he's a fucking junior in high school. You know, he's fucking plays All-American football. He's just doing this to get some extra fucking cash. You think I can sit there and say, all right, dude, you're going to sell 12 porterhouse tonight and whatever. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I don't care. Like, no, like, I'm not doing like, there's been so many times that like young waiters are just like, they'll come to the table and they'll just have that energy like, all right, guys, what can I get you? You know, and then you just see fucking cheeseburger, and you hear the chef like, what the fuck? What are we, Shake Shack? All we sell is burgers? Like, why are we only selling burgers?
Because that's what they want, damn it. I don't know how to ask for anything else. I say we have the cheeseburger or the hamburger. The only difference is I put a slice of cheese on one, and then people are like, that's what I want to eat. Like, I live in a beach town, so it's mostly, like, seafood meals and stuff.
That's super dope, man.
I mean, I grew up loving it, so, like, I'll eat a shark's butthole. It doesn't matter what comes out of the sea. It's like I can tear up anything.
That's fucking awesome.
But it's weird because, like, if you get, like, a burger or something, it's a little bit different. Like, you're just like, can I get a cheeseburger? Even though that's, like, a common meal in a lot of places for us. It's like, you want a fish sandwich? You want shrimp? Do you want Maryland crabs or something? I'm like, I guess. But it's like
soft-shell crab and shit? That's fire, though.
I just could never work in a restaurant because I know how easily I can get overwhelmed. And that's a job where it's, like, so much information processed onto you at once. My whole thing is, like, the reason why I did so well with jet skis is it was overwhelming, but the power was in my hands. The jet ski was in my hands, you know, like if I was going to wreck, it was because of me. If I was going to do something, it's because of me. You know what I mean? And
that's a good feeling, though.
Yeah, but I like that power control thing. But, like, once I'm in the kitchen, I'm sitting around there and everybody's trying to move around each other. People are getting frustrated, yelling at each other, cussing at each other. I mean, most of the time in the industry, the sous chef and the executive chef are at each other's throats. I mean, they're literally, like, yelling and complaining and screaming at each other. Like, I'm going to do it this way. Don't do it that way. It's not how we got to do it. We got to push this because we have to sell this. And it's like there's conflicts of interest.
You know what it is? Like, everyone, I feel like in a kitchen, you know, everyone wants to be in charge. That's what it is, honestly. Generally, everyone wants to be in charge. And it's not like, all right, like, we can all be, like, just because you're an executive chef doesn't mean that my line cook was an executive chef once upon a time. You know, that's not what that means. You know, it just means we're in a certain role. I'm in this role, and it means that whatever I say goes. If I say we move left, we're moving left, and it's because I have the best interest of the company. That's just all it means, you know. And a lot of the times what happens with the sous chefs is sous chefs are always on the rise. You know, their stars on the rise. So they're always out to prove themselves, you know. So they always want to do a special. They always want to do family meal. They always want to do some fucking extra shit that just doesn't need to be done. Just a waste of fucking time, you know? And they're always so emotional because they still don't know how to deal with pressure and deal with criticism and deal with all of that shit, you know? To be an executive chef, you have to deal with criticism, you know? You have to learn how to take that criticism and construct it to a positive way, not only to yourself, but to your team. You have to know how to delegate arguments, how to communicate with others. If you and this other guy are arguing on the grill and you guys are fucking sending out shitty food, I have to make you guys become best friends in 30 seconds so you can fucking start sending amazing food again. Because if you guys don't work together, it doesn't work, you know? So it's a lot, man. The kitchen is a fucking lot. Like, it's really a lot.
That's why people sit in the freezer sometimes. You get so heated, you're like, I got to go in here and go grab
I've done
something.
that thousands of times, dude.
My buddy works at 7-Eleven down the road, and I just randomly, like, he's like stoned and he's just sitting in like the freezer. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, it's so cool in here. I'm like, I know, it's a freezer.
That's hilarious.
And it's funny because, like, if you were going to say, what would your death row meal be? Like, if you had to choose one meal that was your last meal ever, you could be ice cream. It can be anything. You can even incorporate multiple things. I could tell you right now, I want a fucking the sweet casserole that you have on Thanksgiving with the marshmallow in there.
Oh.
That thing. I want a nice Popeyes biscuit. I want a Domino's pizza, and I want fish food ice cream. That's what I want. I don't even care if I get indigestion because I'll be dead. So
honestly, I think my death row meal would be literally a cake size pan of baked macaroni and cheese, a peach cobbler on top of it.
Mac and cheese is a no-no in my book.
What? Oh, you're from Maryland. No,
it's too slimy. And ketchup on egg. Do you do ketchup on your eggs? Do you do ketchup on your eggs?
I'm not a ketchup on egg person.
Good. You're a nice person.
You're not a mac and cheese person?
No, man. I don't know what it is. That, mayo, and
not even a lobster mac and cheese?
You know what? If it was lobster in it, I might have a little bit of it. But like, I'm lactose sensitive, so then it's just death for everybody in the general area if I eat anything. Okay. But just cheese in general, like I am trying to get a cheesemonger on the podcast because I'm like, how can you just eat cheese by itself, like a block of cheese? Like in my Lunchables, when I used to get them, the ones where you get the ham and you get to create the little cracker sandwiches, the cheese was the thing I left back. I was like, that's peasant shit. That's peasant stuff. Like that was just death to me.
Crazy.
I had the worst experience with cheese one time. I went to go pick some up from this grocery store called Harris Teeter. There's a special blue cheese. That shit smells god awful. I don't like cheese. So my mom's like, why don't you go pick me up some of this? So I grab it. And I guess the thing that was supposed to keep it cool, I guess it broke. So it was moistening. It was sweating. The cheese was. And I had picked it up with my hands. And it was like made my hands all like gross and like slimy. So I wiped it off and I washed my hands. All day I was smelling cheese hand, bro. I was like, this is hell. This is what Satan predicted for everyone was cheese hand.
Dude, blue cheese fucking reeks. I mean, there's a number of cheeses that reek, but I'm not really a cheese. I'm not big on like a cheese guy. Like I'm not gonna go out to a spot with my wife and order a tortellini, bro. Like that's not me. You know, like I can't really, like you said, I can't just dig on cheese all day. But as far as baked mac, man, I fucking grew up off that shit. That's just like part of my culture. Like I'm a big soul food guy. Like my family used to make a lot of soul food growing up. You know, the neighborhood I was in, all my friends.
What do you consider soul food though? Because a Hot Pocket to me is soul food. That cures whatever is burning inside of my heart. It's a soul food.
So I guess my type of soul food is oxtail, baked macaroni and cheese, sweet yams, peach cobbler.
Oxtail, fucking tossing out that one hard. I'll agree with you on the collard greens. I've never had oxtail. I've had goat, but not oxtail.
Oxtail? Oh man, you're missing out on a fucking world. If you love goat, you love oxtail.
You ever had a Jose Olay taquito?
I actually have.
Beef or chicken, where do you stand? But let me tell you something. I stand on both, even if you add the corn flour tortilla in that.
Them shits are fire. Them shits are fire. Yeah, you're right. Them shits
that's my stoner high school years right there. Just throwing in I would throw the straight up box. I wouldn't even open it up. Just throw it right in the microwave and heat it up. My mom's like, you heated it up with the box? I'm like, yeah, I'm hungry.
Now, you want to hear something funny? I do not allow microwaves in my house, in my home. I don't have a microwave. Haven't had one in years.
You would have to teach me how to use the oven, or I'm living off canned items the whole entire
Right.
time. The difference between like being a chef is like, it's funny because where we relate so much, we are so completely different because of our jobs that we took. Like for me, I feel like if I would have went to the culinary field, I would be a lot like you, like with the whole like idea of cooking and like kind of like that really the passion for taste.
Right.
I was doing jet skis and you're wearing a really tight wetsuit, or you're not wearing a wetsuit, so you constantly have your shirt off. So what I mean, I was a workout freak, I still am. So I was like 6-pack shredded, but I would just wear like a life jacket over it. I had the worst life jacket tan in the world. I'll send you a picture, dude. Like I was straight up, my skin on my arms and my face was look, my skin literally on my arms and my face was like your skin, but my whole chest was pasty white because I was wearing a life jacket. Like I was just out in the heat all day long. And it's funny because what I would eat for my lunch when I got back to the dock, if I did get a break out of that 12 hours, a can of tuna and a pickle. A can of tuna and a pickle. Maybe not even a pickle. Sometimes a stick of celery. One can of tuna and a stick of celery all day. So I was like lean as fuck. Like, I mean, that would survive me. I mean, I ended up getting to the point where I was eating an apple a day and was able just to survive off that.
I mean, honestly, like, so in a kitchen setting, we, as chefs, we barely have time to eat, you know? So like, by law, I have to give these fuckers a break so they get to, you know, eat. In most restaurants, I'm gonna be honest with you, we don't, our cooks don't take breaks. Our line cooks don't take breaks. We don't allow it.
Eat while you're on the job.
I'll pay you for the 30. You'll fucking crouch down and you'll swallow that whole fucking steak in a matter of a minute, and we'll get back to this. Like that's just how it is, you know. And us chefs, we either just we'll swallow the if we have time, we'll swallow something, or we just won't eat. You know, that's really because you gotta think about it. Like we're either on the line helping them get out of the jam. If we're not, we're jumping on the expo, running the tickets. If not, we're fucking finding out what's going on with the problem in the front of the house. If not, we're checking on the report, checking on inventory, checking on the prep guys downstairs. How's shit going? What's the special events? What's the catering? All that in one fucking day. So it's like, what time do I have to sit down to eat? So like, that's what we'll do. Like, I'll grab like a fucking app. That's what I said. I'll have my Red Bull, 2 Red Bulls on each pocket, my coffee in one hand, and like an apple in my pocket, or like some fucking Ritz crackers in my back pocket or something. And that's my fuel all day.
That's weird to see. Like, well, I know my buddy carries a spoon around in his car just because he has a jar of peanut butter in there. Like, everybody's got these tips and tricks to learn how to like snack throughout the day or something. Some people like me eat like a handful of cereal every time they get home or something. And then there's like my teacher had the weirdest one at lunch. Well, he's not even my teacher; he's a principal. His name was Dr. Ross. He was colorblind, had like really, really like bright, like pale blue eyes, really pale skin, no hair on his head. But he would eat a banana and then he would take the peel and instead of throwing it into the trash can beside him, he would just stick it in his pocket. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing with the banana peels?
Mad fruit flies in your pocket.
Everybody was like, what is he doing? Like, he's right beside a trash can standing there. He would eat the banana, finish it, and then he would stick it and throw it in his pocket. I'm like, is he taking it home and biodegrading it or something? Or what is he doing? But like having a banana, like it's lunch. We're the first shift. He's got another 5 hours of school left.
The first shift. Yo, fucking teachers are weird, dog.
Now, going back to the cafeteria thing, though, with like working at like, you know, working at like a, you know, school or something, doing that. Like, I mean, pizza day, that was the shit. Everyone dumped their lunch in the trash. Didn't matter if your grandma made it for you or not. You were like, I'm going to go get pizza because today's pizza day. And you were pissed when you couldn't get pizza. Like you were trying to trade, like, I'll trade you this bag of goldfish for that pizza slice. I'll trade you this for that cheesy crust, bro.
Can I ask, because we're from, you know, different states and stuff. I don't know how they do it out there. What kind of like, you know, like when I was growing up in middle school, we had the like little round circle pizzas, you know, they're like a little fucking personal pan Domino's type styles with pepperonis or like sausages. Yeah. We got official joints like
it was like a frisbee, yeah. Basically, and it was like it was weird because the inside was a little bit hollow. It felt like a trampoline when you bit into the cheese, yeah. But it was like really good. It was kind of rubbery, like it's not healthy for you probably at all. But my school was weird because we got 4 different types of pizzas. We would have that frisbee one, then you would have one that was like what do you call it? No, hang on. There's we would get the regular triangle ones, like the long ones. Then we would get like the little thin. They look like cheese. They look like crusts, but they were filled with cheese, and you would dip them in like a pizza sauce. And then we had one that was probably my all-time favorite. They took like one of the baguettes, like the giant loaves of bread,
Yeah.
like not like the regular square ones, but like the long like hoagie rolls, and they would cut it in half, and they would like toast it so it was crust, and then they would put the cheese stuff on top of that, so it was
So
like
like
you
a
were eating into like
crostini.
a boat, bro. And I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was like, what fucking school did you go to? We did not have that in New York City.
And I went
We
to
had
a
one
really,
option.
I went to a low class school too.
What the fuck?
I was stoked.
That
That was the
sounds
only good thing
sick.
about that school. That and chocolate milk by Cloverland Dairy, I swear
Oh, yeah.
by.
Oh, yeah.
If
All
you
day.
if you had strawberry milk, I did not sit next to you. That
Yeah,
scared the shit out of me.
if you had strawberry milk, you're probably a fucking serial killer right now.
Yeah.
I would like to say.
I know a couple of them that did turn out that way too.
Chocolate milk, the school chocolate milk was the best. Honestly, the best.
I
And it was just
remember in
such
the
a
morning.
thirst quencher.
I remember in the morning sneaking by literally classrooms that would have like sausage biscuits out in the morning, like fourth grade with the Cloverland Dairy Milk. I would just take a chocolate milk and walk. Rob,
Right?
why do you have 5 chocolate milks?
In
I
your
don't know.
pocket.
I don't know. I'm fueling for the day. Damn it! I need my
Yo,
vitamins.
my God. Kids are all the same. Because I swear to God, we did the same thing. It's 8 a.m. You just walk into school, fucking grabbing mad milk. Yeah, by 9:30, you have 6 boxes of chocolate milk in your pants.
People say that like when they become like people become older and all these drug like selling and all this is like it's you learn it when you get older. That shit starts in school. It just
Right.
upgrades from trading in sausage McMuffins and Cloverland Dairy chocolate
Yeah,
milk.
for sure. For
Those were
sure.
drug deals. I remember going on the playground. Some dude pulls out a chocolate milk out of his freaking pocket. Like, look, man, you got those candy cigarettes. You know the little plastic, the little
Yeah, with the
chalk cigarette,
tattoos.
the little chalk things that you would put in your
Uh-huh.
mouth and act
Those are
like it
my
was a cigarette.
shit.
I'm
Those
like,
are
I'll
my
trade you that for a chocolate milk. Like, dude, my mom, guess what she bought me? What? Cool Ranch Doritos. You're like, son of a bitch, he's got Cool
right.
Ranch Doritos. Everybody back up, back up. I'm about to trade him.
There was this one kid I went to middle school with that. So he got left back like 3 times. So he was a bit older than all of us, right? So he was like walked to school on his own, like he was fucking legit, he was responsible, like he can do things on his own. So this kid used to go to McDonald's every morning before school, right? And when you know how it is, you'll come to school with something, a fucking McMuffin or something, everybody, let me get a piece, can I get a piece, whatever, getting all crazy. And he was doing it every day. Every day people asking for a piece. So this little motherfucker caught on, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna start buying like 10 McMuffins and I'm gonna just fucking sell these shits. So what he started doing was buying McMuffins and selling them to like $2 a pop, not even dropping the price, McDonald's price retail. Like,
He had a hustle,
yo,
bro. He had a hustle, man. That so many kids were running the hustles. I mean, eventually when you get into high school, kids just start selling cigarettes or something to be able to do the hustle that way. I'm like, but the hustle starts at a young age, man. Like if your parents would give you something, you would like, show up in the breakfast in the morning or something like, yo, I got these Doritos for lunch, man. What you trying to trade? And like, yo, I'll give you my math homework. Like, I'll give you my Nintendogs video game. Is that what you want? And they're just like, what? You got Nintendogs? Yeah, man.
my wife's little brother was actually like a couple years ago, actually, like 3-4 years ago in middle school. He was fucking, the Lipton iced tea that comes in the powder jug. This motherfucker was buying those from ShopRite, making batches of iced tea, fucking recycling water bottles, filling them up, and selling them at school for $1 a pop, bro.
What do you do as a parent when that comes across? You just respect the hustle? I mean, that's what I would do. I'd be like, you're a genius, man.
It is like, that's what you want to do, but the fucking principal, like, tried to suspend him. It got so crazy, and the mom was like, I respect the hustle and the ambition, but it's like, I don't think you can fucking make your own iced tea and sell it in reuse.
I remember when we got microwaves in our school, and it lasted a month. They had them like out just for people to heat up their lunch. So, like people are bringing in like pizza slices. I'm like, just eat it cold. It's better that way. But then like I remember I brought in a chimichanga from like the dollar store. And like what I would do at my own house was I would put it in the microwave for like 5 minutes, and then I would just run upstairs and go do something, wait till it comes downstairs. So when you come downstairs, like all the cheese is melted inside the microwave and it's like really hot as shit. And I remember doing that, and I remember some kid was waiting for me, and so I just ran up from my seat, ran over, grabbed this chimichanga out of the microwave, pulled it out, and I'm like, I got it, see? And then I go and take a bite of it without even thinking, just like a reflex, like something you do on autopilot. Dude, a fucking cheese bean hit me right in the mouth. I mean, a bean covered in cheese burned the whole part of the tip of my tongue in my mouth. I'm in class, like holding on to my tongue like this, like the kid from A Christmas Story, all messed up and shit. I had anxiety using the microwave at school after that. I remember they had to take them away because too many kids were getting injured.
Yo, that's hilarious, man.
You got to think a school does something nice. Like, we're going to have microwaves for all these kids, and eventually they have to take them out because kids are just injuring themselves left or right. He got hit with a fucking Popeye's chicken sandwich in the face that was stuck in the microwave for 10 minutes. I'm like, well, what do you expect? You give kids a microwave, we're going to stick stuff in it.
That's why kids are a liability, and that's why I guess that's why they treated us like prisoners. I guess that's why they did act the way they did, because it's like, you give a fucking kid, and I'm just saying off my own experience, my son's fucking 3, you know, you give a kid a snack, and he goes and takes literally the whole fucking kitchen, literally, like, and it's just like, what the fuck? So imagine 800 of these fuckers, you know, or if you're an aide and you have 60 of them, and it's like, what the fuck? Michael, stop eating hot shit. He's burning his tongue. Tyson is licking poles, like, it's
and he still keeps eating it too. You're like, this
and
guy's
still eating it. Like,
like, just let it cool down. It's like, but if I do that, I won't have the experience.
Like, he has 3rd-degree burn in his throat. Like, it's insane.
And then there would be like the rich kids that would be on like a different lunch shift than me. Then they would come in and their parents would like bring in a bunch of pizza for everybody. I'm like, why didn't I get that lunch shift?
Hey.
Like,
what my mom is buying pizza for the whole floor. But like, only for the 2 p.m. class.
It's like, okay, well,
what? Like, all right.
What do I have to do to get a slice? It's like, you can meet me out back and sell me some crack. It's like, all right, I'll be back there with that Cloverland Dairy. I would stop when I would see that truck roll up into school, and I would try and talk to that guy out back to see if he would give me a milk. And I think it only happened like 3 times. Eventually, the teachers caught on to it. They were like, you need to go inside and get back to class. I'm like, I don't even go to school here. Start walking away.
Yo, I don't even attend school.
Where am I? Where's my dad? Somebody call my mom. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming out and doing the podcast, dude.
Yeah, man, it was a stellar time. I really enjoyed talking to you, man.
I want you to plug your Instagram page, anything you want to promote, such as like maybe your company that you're coming out in a few weeks, just so people can be aware of it. So when
definitely.
This post and everything, they can go look and find you.
Definitely. Should I just send you all the stuff, or?
Yeah, you can send me the stuff, but right here, I just want you to say it to everybody. Tell them to look it up. Like Chef Lab.
Cool, yeah. Awesome. So yeah, guys, Chef's Lab New York City. Follow me on Instagram. Detox powdered line dropping literally in a month max. You know. So I'll be carrying 2 types of products. I'm doing detox juice in a powdered form, which is basically natural fruits dehydrated, pulsed down to powders. You can add filtered water and drink it like that. You can take teaspoons, add it to your tea, add it to your kombucha, add it to your smoothie, you know, whatever. It's all to build the immune system. And then I'm gonna have a super green one where I'll be adding all type of vitamin C's, A's, nutrients, proteins, you know, so you get your double dosage. With this whole pandemic, I'm really trying to focus on building the community's immune systems. So God forbid we enter something like this again, we're ready for anything. You know, physically, mentally, we're ready for anything. It makes me sad that all these little kids love McDonald's, love fried food, love hamburgers, but they never had a fucking snack peek. You know, I was like that as a kid. I didn't know I loved beetroot until I was 20 years old. You know, so it's like we have to try, we have to implement, we have to enforce, and you know, just stay healthy, stay together, and that's just really what I'm trying to implement. So Chef's Lab New York City, detox powder line dropping literally in 2 to 4 weeks. So stay tuned, guys.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode.